looks much better. Stream health, etc., etc. We are getting some due to encoding lag. Oh boy. Oh, come on. Okay, we should be doing better. Oh boy, here. Tabbing around, which isn't helping the FPS, I know. Let's tab new window. Move this up here so I can see that. Oh, come on. Work right, please. Yeah, okay. There we go. That's maybe a bit better. Hopefully this is due to lag 1%, 1.8%. Streams drop, frame network output bit rate. Now it's going green. Maybe it was just, well, I don't know. Recording is inactive, of course, at the moment. Okay, well, I need a new GPU. Anybody here if they got new cards coming out? Yes, okay. Well, we're going to be playing Endsieg, as they're calling it, Ultimate Victory. There, of course, cannot be an Ultimate Victory or whatnot, but single player load. And we're going to load this. Save here. Would be a good idea. Just what I thought of. Okay. How are we going to get rubber without synthetic rubber? Do the Dutch have no rubber? The Dutch have no rubber. I know the Dutch East Indies has rubber, but that is not the Dutch. But uses rubber here. Fighter aircraft. Why do fucking A? Hardly anybody here to answer the question, but what an early aircraft use rubber? Engine seals? Maybe. Maybe we'll need rubber motorization, but I don't know. Oh boy, we're lagging again. Stream. Live drop frames, network data, bit rate. Oh god. go from that. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm alt-tabbing there. Live dashboard. I don't think I need this open. Let's see if I shut that down. See if that helps. Hello, OCB. I hope you're having a little better. I'm just having a little bit of a problem here with the stream technology here. Okay, well, I think we can make an episode here. Welcome back to the world before the collapse. Starting this out just a few moments ago in my time, and before I had a little bit of a technical difficulty which threw me off my stride, I had to wonder, were things better when the world looked like this? I really have to question that, because the storm clouds are coming, the collapse will happen, and yes, I'm a lot of it focused on Austria-Hungary right now, but it's more than just that. Was the world better then? Love to have you post below. And of course, if you haven't already, you can also subscribe. We're going to continue. We're in July 1913, playing Endsieg. They call it the ultimate victory. And so, don't worry, we'll get into game playing in a moment. This isn't going to be a long talk here, but and I'm thinking as I'm doing this, and I don't have like the answer right now. This isn't something that, oh, I have the answer and just want to walk you through the steps to prove that I'm right. You know, I could go, yeah, this is definitely better. This world. I'm not talking the technology or whatever like that. And, oh, people lived in poverty and they're much better off now. Yeah. We see countries like Britain and Germany, I can think particularly, that are technologically racing ahead during this time period. Other countries, maybe the Ottoman Empire, the sublime state of Persia, they may, making some progress by importing technology, but not really producing anything new technological to mankind. I'm not talking that. God, I love living in the computer world versus the non-computer world. But hey, I could live with just books because I did that before computers were much of a thing. And you can look at Russia and the millions that died. The tens of millions that died in Russia. And probably equal number more that were just imprisoned in the Gulag system for a considerable amount of time. That definitely show, in China, it has gone through a revolution already here. We'll go through another one in more hugely more traumatic. Not necessarily hugely more change, because you've already pushed with the Republic of China, China sort of embracing modernism versus the old imperial viewpoint, and there's a lot of cultural shift, but just the trauma and tens of millions more dead in the Maoist revolution. But so that we could point to is maybe enough to go, this is a better world for all of its faults. And is the Ottoman Empire a good thing or a bad thing? Now, it was sort of the rise of Turkish nationalism during this period, and the war that breaks out that pushes the Armenian genocide with the Turks. And yeah, I'm going to use that term even if the Google algorithm gods don't like that. But well, they're just using the genocide word or talking about Armenian genocide. But I don't know why they want to cozy up to the neo-Ottomans of modern day, of Erdogan's modern day Turkey. No, I know not all Turks support that, but that is not a good thing in my opinion. And there definitely was, you see it right around 1918, 1920. Particularly, I see it in the German states, a sort of cultural explosion would be a good term. Not all of it is good. Not all, when I say good, I don't necessarily mean like moral and immoral. Some of it is, or positive or negative, for society, or something I like or I don't like. It can be elements of like something I like or don't like, but probably it's not a moral good or morally good or morally bad, or good or bad for society. But you see like a lot of avant-garde painters and other sorts of art going on, including architecture, that I think is just god-awful, but doesn't make it evil or wrong or damaging to society. Some cubist painter or something that just that wouldn't have thrived prior to it or something. It's just a thing. Now it may be tied, the personalities behind it may be tied into the communist explosion and radicalism and whatever, but just the idea of artistic styles, that I may dislike and not want on my wall, but if you want to put it on your wall, it'd be fine. And I might think it is horrid if my city pays for one of these statues to put up in the town square, because it represents me as a citizen of the town, and it is my money. Now, of course, we can see them tearing down statues today in America and other places, and go, well, hey, I don't want to be represented by these people. Yeah, I get that. That doesn't mean you tear it down. It doesn't mean if you put up some strange avant-garde thing that I want to tear it, physically go and march over and tear it down. But, just some of the stuff you can put on your wall. But especially when it's inside your home or inside my home, I don't care what style of artwork you have or want to have. So, yeah, was this world that will be lost coming up, presumably if we lose, because it's not just, I don't think Hitler would have risen at all had Germany not collapsed. Doesn't mean it has to win the war, but if Germany had not collapsed, Hitler would not have risen. So, but that doesn't mean there wouldn't be a round two from World War I and millions of people dying. Okay, well, let's get into the game plan again. All right, well, we're still at peacetime Germany here. We are trying to, of course, build up political points and starts. Okay. Advanced training, good. Limited conscription, we'll have to go to extensive once the war starts. For sure, if not service by requirement. Okay, early support weapons 3. Whatever the hell that means exactly, I don't know. I mean, I know what a lot of the small weapons were at this time. Like you don't have the sort of modern day concept. Was it Brent Stokes mortars? Those didn't happen until the war got underway. Oh, I thought we paused. I wish this would pop up and pause. Okay, we're researching field howitzers. Okay, well, we can... Hello. Cordially. Am I butchering that? How are you doing today? Okay, that's way too in advance. Yeah, we could do that. Though we're gonna have trouble with aircraft production without freaking rubber. Now we are training up. Oh, okay. Not enough special forces cap. Right. We can let things go for a bit here.
Ihre Befehle? Achtung!
Don't know how much of this I should try to spend prior to the war. Spend that.
Angetreten? Achtung!
Okay, pause. Okay, colonial defense 2. Good. Cameroon. We now are more fortified. Not that we have any great hopes of defending the territory, but we have make it more difficult for them to take it. We've created an air force. Western Togo. Well, we still have some time if it's going to kick off in a historical manner and date. Yeah, I think some of this is worthy of doing. Because production is very much the thing with the First World War, well, any of the major long-term wars. Okay, well, what do we need? What do we need? I really don't know how much rations or how rations are used in this game. Whether I'm way overproducing or way underproducing. Quite honestly, I wish they wouldn't have them in the game. Game is just not designed for it. Yeah, while we can, let's import rubber. Yeah, low manpower, I get that. Okay, we have some of these ersatz divisions. We can look at the temple, just sort of occupation, military, police type arrangements. Now, I want them to come here. Now, I've been warned that the British like to do naval invasions, so we're going to have some sorts of defenses along here. And these are sort of, obviously cheap divisions that are... Oh, actually, I'm not... I remember what I was going to do with these guys. No, this is a different plan. We are going to have some of these along here, but we're going to do some minor attempt at trying to hold out here. That's right. I remember now. From last week. I do want to have some of these little divisions along the coast here too. Well, I guess we'll just start with this one. Because I want to some of the biggest problem I'm seeing with this is the AI may want to send supplies out, and I don't know. I just want to maybe let them starve instead of having them shipping repeatedly destroyed and having them starved.
Zuhören.
But hey, Flagelline or whatever, Marshall Island. Yeah, we're going that way around the world. Hello, Blue, White, Red. How you doing? Yeah, well, this mod goes well after World War II. I forget what their sort of end date, so it isn't necessarily a finite World War I situation. So okay, so we're gonna German Pacific colonies. Hey, Toy Jet. I am doing well. I'm just sort of waking up here, but I'm doing well. So if I'm not terribly energetic, it's just I woke up a while ago and my alarm went off to wake me up, and I really didn't want to wake up. But hey, the stream is scheduled, so I'm going to wake up and do it because I want to do the stream. I do love this feature here of being able to block out areas. Okay, well, we can modify our government, whatever that means. Limited conscription. Yeah, war. Well, that really wasn't a question so much for Germany. So the tank designer just hasn't been an issue yet. So we need 200 for. I guess we'll wait on that. Hello, Scooter. How you doing? Total War I research is finished. Pause it. That's awfully far ahead. That we're not already doing far ahead. You can see here, you know, this is set up to go on, so this victory might not be final. Yeah, but the idea I understand is working towards a final victory of some sort. Okay, well, I don't know. Basically, early battle cruiser. I've already got the submarines researched. Defense in depth. You're sure punk. Oh. Don't know why this isn't an exclusive, you know, one or the other thing. Why do you make me have these choices? Because this seems very useful for what... Well, you have the freedom. I don't know. I guess we'll take the optimistic approach, that we'll be able to effectively use offensive to win. Okay, let's look at our divisions here. Okay, well,
Zuhören.
let's concentrate. Been advised not to push through Belgium.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
That is just counter to my basic thoughts on the whole.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
Well, no, it isn't, but I don't know. Okay, we have more military factories, so we are, while we have the rubber, let's build some aircraft. Yeah, let's reduce that down by 2. This World War I mod that if you don't go after Belgium, the Brits don't get... I think they may get involved anyways. I'm not sure on that fact with this mod. I have not played this mod, you know. Yes, I played it last Saturday, but I haven't played this mod before, meaning I have not gone beyond this date. So I do not know if the Brits come in anyways. Likely they will. I know some of the serious thinkers on the subject think the British would have come in anyways. I think they may be right on that. On point. Likely right on that point, maybe. But I'm not absolutely sure they're right on that point. Okay, and I'm sure this will come up again, maybe in this series or whatever, because someone asked. I'm not sure, but I think some of the people that talk about how Britain... I keep wanting to step back, so I want to explain things. Up until the end of World War II, possibly after that, but Britain's strategy was not divide and conquer or divide and rule, but it was to, I don't know how best to say this, but it was to make sure that there was no overwhelming power in Europe. So if the Habsburgs were getting too big, and this goes back to Elizabeth, or hell, this goes back to Henry VIII at least, if there's one overwhelming power growing big in Europe, Britain wants to sort of take the side of those that are opposing this overwhelming power. And so when the Habsburgs are getting super strong, they're sort of like, hey, man, those Bourbons, they need a situation too, though most of the time just proximity and the physical geopolitics, they're supporting the Habsburgs, making sure the Bourbons don't get too powerful. And so they have this, it's not divide and rule, it's not divide and conquer, but it's to keep Europe fragmented. And it's a balance of power action. And so they're worried that if Germany gets to, in 1910s, leading up to 1914, they're worried that if the German Empire is getting too strong, they need to be on the other side, because literally up until 1914, basically, and there's definitely a transition period, and they're definitely at times propping up the royalist regime in France post the Napoleon I. But up until 1914, it had been a Anglo-German alliance, basically, particularly an Anglo-Prussian alliance. Now realizing that up until Victoria, the rulers of Hanover are also the rulers of England. Just the Elector of Hanover couldn't be a woman. The succession of the throne, of course, goes to Victoria, a woman. So now, of course, she marries Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, wherever the hell that is. It's some petty state in here. So the son of the ruler of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha becomes the consort to the queen. So you see this. So until the German Empire is declared, the British crown through the 18th century is tied to particular German states and is often working in concert with the Prussian state. But once the Prussian state is becoming overly powerful in the German Empire, that starts to really concern the British policies makers. And so there's something of a gradual change, because you do have the Anglo-French invasion of Mexico over, because it used to be when you sort of defaulted on debts or something, you get invaded and the debt's collected. So the British and the French invade Mexico during the American Civil War, so the Americans weren't prepared to respond to it. The British honestly just wanted their money back, and so what they did is they controlled the ports that imported and exported things from Mexico, including lots of silver that was coming out of Mexico. Silver was a massive silver rush in Mexico for generations, and they just wanted to collect the import and export duties to get paid back. It's sort of like, hey, you get to export, you get to import, instead of the money going to the Mexican state, we're collecting our money. Now, once basically that's paid off fairly quickly for the British, they're out of there. They split. They're not trying to do territorial ambitions, where the French set up Maximilian, a Habsburg prince, to be emperor of Mexico and send in a huge amount of French troops to try to set up a puppet state in Mexico. So the French have greater ambitions than just collecting their debt. But there's this, Anglo-British cooperation in the 19th century over this, specifically in the 1860s. And so there's a growing shift towards an Anglo-French alliance, because you have the growing threat of Prussia over time. Because the natural, who do you want to fight? If you ask an Englishman, it's a Frenchman. What city do you want to bomb? Let's bomb the French. It wasn't to bomb the Germans. They're natural fighting buddies. Hell, they had 2 100-year-long wars. The 100 Years' War and the Second 100 Years' War, basically. So yeah, no, they're used to fighting each other, but Britain doesn't want to see a huge imperial power. Okay, now we're still talking about Belgium and World War One. So I can agree that there's a very strong likelihood that Britain would have come in on France's side whether Germany invaded Belgium or not. That is quite possibly true. I am not convinced. Doesn't say just because. And people pointed to, oh, well, this or that statements going on that they would have gotten in anyway. And they're probably, and they're absolutely right that people made these statements that definitely signal that some people in the halls of power in Britain want to come in on the side of France no matter what. Does that, it's like going back and saying, well, for sure, Winston Churchill's going to become Prime Minister of England in World War II. When basically it was 3 guys in a room, Chamberlain, Halifax, and Churchill. And who do we pick to be Prime Minister? Of you two, because Chamberlain wasn't going to stay, and Halifax was definitely the more the sort of deputy leader or whatever. I don't know his exact position at the time, but definitely the leading man within the Conservative Party. And Churchill gets it by turning his back and looking out the window and sort of putting the pressure on Halifax to say something. And Halifax sort of folds. So it very, very easily could have been Halifax instead of Churchill. And remember, Halifax is a guy who, I think, on 2 different occasions, spent multiple nights in Goering's home as a guest, spending the night there. So not that he loved Goering, but he was cozy enough with the Nazis in a diplomatic sense. It's like, you got to remember, Reagan had Gorbachev out to his ranch in California. Now, yeah, Bush had some, Saudi princes and some other Russian leaders to his ranch in Texas. And you go, oh, well, he's just a puppet of Saudi and he's just a puppet of Putin or whatever. You want to say that about Bush because you just hate Bush. But Reagan definitely was not pro-Gorbachev in the sense of being pro-communist, just more pro that we can work with this guy, maybe. So it's not like he's pro-Nazi, I don't think Halifax is. But he was more accommodating. And so with France falling, Halifax as prime minister, he might be been willing to sign a peace treaty with Germany. Not that he wanted, yay, Hitler won, or anything like that. It just, he may be like, oh shit, Hitler's won. We've got to make the best peace we can. I'm not trying to impugn Halifax's character, because he does work very hard for, as an element within Churchill's government, to fight the Nazis. But it was a coin flip almost. So we've gone from 1914 to Reagan. Wow, that's a leap. Yeah, but I'm just illustrating the point. So that's a coin flip, really. Does Churchill become Prime Minister of Britain? And I think he, the most of any one person, is responsible for Britain's survival. Obviously, a lot of people did the fighting and dying and all that important work out there, no doubt whatsoever. So, but that's a coin flip. So I'm not convinced in the what if scenario, if Germany does not go through Belgium, that Britain comes in. But even if they are, even if it's a foregone conclusion that Britain's coming in on France's side, there's a huge difference between, for the British population and those who are going to eventually be drafted into the British Army, how hard they're fighting the Germans. When they're fighting to defend, Belgium, because Belgium's being raped, quote, hello, Marcel, German tanker, or Fritz, however you prefer. But yeah, so, fighting to defend Belgium from the German rape of it versus fighting to defend France, the Republic of France fighting the German Empire, are two different things. Because we can see later on, I think it was like around 1916, there's a massive mutiny within the French army that basically for a while the French soldiers refused to attack Germans. Not that they basically sort of state that we'll defend, but we're not going on any of these attacks. Because they're not revolting against the idea of France really being in this war with Germany. Is it worth it? It was more of are our leaders making good, military leaders making good decisions in this war and whatnot. So you have that going on within France. You don't have any of that going on, any sort of that level going on with the British Army, and it's being drafted in there. But you might have had something like that, and general war exhaustion, and general back home of how many sons and husbands that are being lost in the war. So politically, how much could Britain sustain a war if it's not over an issue like the invasion of Belgium? So that's a massive difference, in my opinion, is, if you will, war motivation or war support in a Hearts of Iron 4 situation. So I would massively put war support down for Britain if Germany doesn't invade Belgium. But they may have come in anyways. So that's my analysis, and I know it took a long ways to get there, but that's my analysis of what would be different if we had we do or we don't have Belgium in, invading Belgium. Okay. Now, well, okay. We are planning a massive push up here in the north. But let's start at 61. Let's make sure here is secure.
Ihre Befehle? Ausrücken!
Okay, 5 divisions there. Where that is. I want to reinforce my Austrian buddies. Now we're going to try to push down and meet up with the Austrians, and I think whatever river this is may be something of the key. So if we can help the Austrians to push north. Okay, now they have arrived? Yes, some of them have arrived. I'm not planning on defending each and every one of these little islands out here, and the Marshalls and others that are German territory, for multiple reasons, but I did want to make it a little more difficult to take. No, I just want to see what... Come on. Let me click somewhere.
Befehle.
No, I don't want to click on the damn troops. There we go. Huh. Okay, so we have coastal fort and we have a land bunker. Okay, that's probably as much as we're going to have here. Again, I'm not planning on defending this against a massive Chinese assault or anything like that, but just to make them work for it, as it were. I think so. I'll let the fort back. Is reasonably well supported. Oh, well, it's also, we're giving him all these colonial troops. They don't have a command range, which is unfortunate in this game. They should have a command range. Maybe not as tight as we see in Hoi 3. Okay, these guys also get... So now these divisions, they're very light. Basically set up for occupation type duties. Both foreign and domestic. I guess we'll set up a new interior command here. Prince Wilhelm. Not that I'm expecting them to come through Belgium. But, and how are our military factory production going on? Well, let's see what we can do for some of these generals. Guerrilla fighter, entrenchment speed. Okay. I think we're capped at 200 with this mod. So we'll get that. And I think we're going to end the episode, not the live stream, but the episode here. So I want to thank all those viewing later on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. If you haven't already, please subscribe. See you next time for more, yes, even more Hearts of Iron. Okay, we'll make another episode here. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745, and if you're watching on Twitch now, YouTube, or Facebook, hit the subscribe, the follow, whatever button is appropriate for that. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or other things like Twitter or Parler. Please do so. And of course, if you're watching later on YouTube, you can hit the subscribe button and the like button, and you can even hit the like button now for the live stream. It does help. Okay, so, well, we've gotten
Befehle?
2 mountain divisions. Now, what should we do? And if anybody's paying attention in chat, what should I do with the mountain divisions now? I know Germany used a lot of them, or used, well, from reading Rommel's book, he talks about fighting in the mountains in Romania, fighting in the mountains along the Italian border, in a Bavarian mountain regiment, in the German Empire, army fighting along, or, out supporting the Austrians, but we don't have any of that. We don't have much, because I think it's going to be a while before we see the Italians in. I've sent 1 mountain division here, which I should stick into, I guess, is here to defend. For some reason with this map, I think it's their map. Keep. No, see, it keeps wanting to click on the armies. I'm not clicking on the army. No. 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 See, no. I'm gonna click on the province. No. What the hell am I doing wrong? Because I don't have this with any other game. A Hoi 4 problem. No. No. Well, I'm not clicking. Maybe if I click on them, I'll get the province. No. Nope, you're not. See, it's just not letting me do this. There we go. Maybe get zoom out here. Okay, so yeah, maybe holding in the mountains here is where we should put them. Oh, Toy Jet. Yeah, it's definitely because they reworked the map somehow, and like it's almost impossible to click on a province with a unit in there. So I don't know if it's a map glitch, a unit whatever giant man glitch here that is just super big. So okay, if you think, because yeah, I noticed it like when I'm in Qingdao out here as well, trying to click, because you can see where I am, and I'm going to click here, and it's selecting these 2 Marine divisions, and I'm nowhere near. I click outside there now. It took me a little while to finally get. Maybe I had to actually go out like that, yeah. To get. Okay, well, we're getting towards the conflict starting. We can improve government. Yes, we wanted to. Okay, Ludendorff. Divisional organization plus 12. We already have Hindenburg and Rupert for attack and defense. Recovery rate. Attack and defense infantry divisions. Organization plus 6. Organization plus 12. That's also infantry attack. And training time down. Let's go with Ludendorff. I know von Backensen is iconic, but Okay.
Bereit zum Ausrücken.
These are all trained.
Zuhören.
These are all trained, so I don't think I need to train these guys.
Angetreten.
Well, he has
Ihre Befehle.
one green, but I don't care about his one green occupation unit. Okay, so these guys are all basically trained. Okay, improved early machine tools. The 8 days is not long. I'm not going to face much heart attack, so let's let's do this. I actually think this is more of a models thing because it doesn't. I don't think it's math. I think it's. Especially you can see it when you zoom in on some of these horseshoes. Oh, they've changed some of the stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, we're running low on manpower, but fine. I'm going to keep cranking out the divisions now. As long as we have we need more rations. Okay, we are down on rations. See, I don't know how I'm supposed to deal with these rations. Okay, I think I'm fairly well up on artillery, so let's hate to do this, but let's do this. We need more grain. Well, where do we get grain from? Just hoping to get something that we would. I guess Austria hungry right now. Oh, okay, yeah. Germany definitely has had a food problem then, though. I'm just less sure how well the mod can deal with things like that. Okay, well, let's get rations coming in, I guess. Okay, Kingdom Italy took one state from the order. It's capitulated, very good. Okay, we researched better artillery. Nice. 400, yeah. Plus, yeah, we'll do the hand grenade. Okay, we're going to go to 1. So we just stop building those after a while. A little worried about manpower at this point, and we'll also do that there. Duck boards, which I believe are boards at the bottom of the trench. Keep you from stepping in mud as you're walking along, because it rains in Europe, I hear. Once in a while. I'm really not planning on doing much in the way of Navy. And yes, Toyjet just cried, but it's fun making Toyjet cry. Four years ahead, that's a bit too far. Yeah, way too far ahead for that. Hoping for something that take less than a year to achieve. Yes, Navy, but has the right power. Okay, I guess these are the ones that would take less than a year to achieve. With the right power, I'm with you. The idea of navies. Okay, interwar fighter doctrine. Basically, we're stuck here. I think, well, it's going to be a big jump to get to there. Let's continue with some of these. We can do reconnaissance. Well, since we have a lot of these points, let's look at our... Okay. 36 width. We probably don't need maintenance or military police, so that's this. We are building just a few of these. Just a lot of infantry. I mean, it's well, if there's a few over here, we're stopping this. I don't know. Schutztruppen, those are just, well, these are out in Africa. We got a few of them. We don't want them to be, you know, no, don't do that. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. No, cancel. Okay, hit the right button. Let's add adds a lot of soft attack. Yeah, let's give them artillery. Oh, we have 0 rations available. Oh well. We'll still do this. And we can edit these. We can't really do too much to them. Okay. Marine. Yeah, those are now cavalry divisions. We have a fair number of these. I think they're fine for what they're supposed to be. Have you ever heard about our Lord and Savior, the Super Heavy Battleship? I think Billy Mitchell convinced the world that they're not the Lord and Savior of nations, Super Heavy Battleships. So blame Billy Mitchell for saying no to that. Okay, more ration production. Okay, well, let's build better artillery. Well, while that's down, let's build more rations. We need more grain coming in. Yeah, I don't like the rations in this game here, because how do I put this? Soldiers aren't something that are just created that are independent. Meaning, if they're going to be workers, you need to feed them too. And you can very, very legitimately say, well, they could be farming. And absolutely, they could be farming instead of being soldiers. But you know what? They can be farming and soldiers. Because what the hell is saying that all these soldiers, or let's say half of all of these soldiers, aren't out on the farm? Well, okay, January, no. But in planting and harvest season, it was quite traditional in a lot of armies, in a lot of, at least in Europe in the 18th century for sure, that they would be used as farm laborers if there was no military campaigning season going on. So it doesn't hold that even though that they're soldiers, they wouldn't help significantly on the farm. But yeah, in the middle of the war, they're not going to, obviously. But it's really more of an ultimate food situation. And the way I sort of like how regular sort of Hearts of Iron 3 and 4 to whatever degree, and some of the Black Ice uses agricultural improvements that improve manpower numbers, meaning it's sort of like, and whether they do it well or not is another question, but the concept is shall we say, industrialization of farming, machinery, mechanics. So you can even have human-powered or animal-powered, human and animal-powered machinery working better than simply hand tools improvements. Because you even have, do you have a plow that is pulled behind a horse that does one furrow, or do you have, say, two horses pull a mechanical thing that makes 8 furrows or whatever at once, so you don't have to go back and forth 8 times to make the set of furrows. You just do it one time. So you can even have animal-powered machinery, if you will, on farms that will increase production, including grain harvesting and whatnot. That's literally just human and animal-powered. And then, of course, you can also have steam powered via coal or other forms, and then the internal combustion engine all coming into this, so you can have farm industrialization that reduces your manpower needs, as it were. So that is a thing for sure. Okay, well, let's see. Yeah, we'll put a factory there. So, and we need more food. What we're going to do is start a new production line of. Let's quickly look here. Do we have any armored cars? No, in production. We do have have planes. We're not worrying about transport planes. Rations. So it's just maybe more of a critical thing than I'm aware of. Again, not used to playing it. Well, let's see how well trade with the Ottoman Empire will work out once the big banging goes off. Don't know how they've set this up. So we could even have not just through neutral countries, we should be able to move food, but then of course once Romania gets in, you know, I don't know if we'll have, because Serbia is obviously an enemy state, but whether we'll have to ship food all the way, you know, out of Basra, all the way around through the North Sea to Germany, or can we just put it on trains and come up through here if we have land connection? I don't know. Again, some of the mechanics of the game are broken. Okay. We might as well have you come over here. We'll put you out in the colony somewhere. Well, Truck Island. And you can also join the crew here. You go hold that port. Yes, to hold everything is to hold nothing, but I don't know how much. Well, don't know what's going to happen here. I'm not going to worry about an air base out there. I'm not going to put in my few aircraft that I have. How many aircraft do we have currently? Okay, well, it's still under 100. We really need to produce more. Okay, we really need to produce more food. Okay, we're gonna trash this production line. Food. Yes, it means we need to import more food from. Let's well, let's get ready to maybe help out our Austrian buddies. Fight through some of these hills and mountains down here. Hello, Eagles, 1930. How you doing? I hate it when, well, maybe, I don't know, maybe they presume you're using dark mode or something, but I hate it when Twitch decides to use very pale colors for some of your names. I know it's entirely random. Let's see here when I zoom in, because I'm having trouble clicking on the province, but you can see as I zoom in, the horses go from being super big to coming in. I think their models are effed up here. Well, we're getting ready for this. This is Endsieg. I don't know how far we're going to get in this, but it does have, we started in 1910. It does have a 1914 start date, as well as 1936 and other dates. So, yeah, but yeah, we're getting ready for this big show, as it were. A little heavier garrisoned. Lost causes, I'm sure, but make him pay for it. Armament effort, very good. Theorist. Armor mass research doctrine. We're just about through army experienced. Those do nothing appear, apparently. Okay. Well, I think we're going to save some of this. Well, I don't know why we wouldn't. Factory construction speed down. Yeah, let's go to this. That should give us more factories. Now, okay, engineer company pause. Okay, well, we've gotten through our construction. Effort, aviation. We've got all the air doctrines we can get right now. So that isn't much of a benefit to us. Land doctrines similarly with some of the research equipment. Those might be useful. What, I don't know which one power to the military. Or Italian neutrality. No. Okay. Don't know if any of you have any particular knowledge of this. Political effort, home by Christmas, home front. Yeah, okay, 1915. Okay, we'll do political effort here. Well, I guess we'll do this. Okay, you're going to come under him. Oh, I should put under the Western Front.
Ihre Befehle?
There we go. Commander. Okay, these are the Schutztruppen here. You guys come down. You're going to be the last real reinforcement down to here. One more division coming. That's it. Okay.
Befehle. Bereit zum Ausrücken.
We'll be able to use
Ausrücken.
some of these lighter divisions some other time.
Zuhören.
You shoot Strupen? Yeah. I'm going to switch him over to here and send him off as well. I think the camera ring.
Bereit zum Ausrücken. Achtung. Ausrücken.
It's a bit much there. Let's keep. And we're back over in Hanover. Okay. Continued expansion. And continued expansion here. Which means now, do we set up? Yeah, I guess we do. Well, Airy, my sort of World War I commentator, isn't watching here today, but okay, we have a lot of submarines here. We've been cranking out a bunch. More submarines. Okay, let's what this task force can have. Let's yeah, let's put you down there. Okay, you. Let's split you in half. Select you. Let's send you out to there. Don't know how long we're going to be able to supply all of these fleets. U.S. occupies Vera Cruz. Okay, talked before about some of this with the German steamer SS Paranga, I guess, about to deliver weapons and munitions to the Huerta government in violation of the arms embargo instituted by the United States, and Huerta's refusal to do the 21-gun salute to the U.S. flag following the unwarranted seizure of several unarmed U.S. sailors. The president is forced to order the U.S. military seizure of the port of Veracruz. This has been a very unpopular move and has brought the U.S. and the Mexican government to the brink of war. It's up to Germany now. Not that Germany's going to do much about it. And this is sort of the, okay, this is United States controlled now at Veracruz here. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on in this time period. Mexico's a complete mess. Oh, it's still a complete mess today. Wonder why. Oh, it's all the Anglo's fault. Yeah, that's right. What do you plan? Well, okay. I'm planning on trying to do a bit of a pincer movement. Moved a couple of No, let's pause this while I talk. A couple of German divisions down to here to help the Austrians push north. Going to move some of these divisions here and put them under von Mackensen, along with some of the other ones to do sort of a pincer to the south. And trying to secure, the great bulk of Poland, while trying to hold on the other flanks there. I've been advised not to try to bring Belgium into the war, and so maybe we're just going to look at pushing into France if we can, or holding France. So maybe an east front first strategy here that we're looking at. And just for the colonies and whatnot, that's just sort of a delaying game, or whatever you want to sort of go with the concept out there. In that we're just putting units, weak ones, out to sort of force them into attacking and taking possessions. Well, now we're down to a year for these, but I guess we might as well. Don't know if, well, that one may have more things to do. I don't think we're still producing anywhere near enough food. Well, we're producing more than we're consuming now, but okay. I think because of that, we need to sort of shut down additional divisions being produced beyond what is. No, that's until we get that problem solved one way or another. Recon company, good. Let's do okay, well, we're going to end the episode here. I hope you enjoy it. We'll see you next time for more, more Hearts of Iron. Don't worry, everyone, live. We're not going anywhere. I'm going to make another episode just cutting up. We make alliances. Well, currently we're in the alliance of the Central Powers. So, and yes, we will look towards the Ottoman Empire and Bulgaria and whatnot for other alliances. To the best of my knowledge, and again, I am not an expert on World War I, the Kingdom of Italy was a member of the Central Powers, but they flaked out, so I don't know. Yeah, we're basically done with manpower until we can do more. Oh, you're specifically make alliance with Sweden. Well, I don't know if Sweden will do much. Don't know if there's a alternative. No, Sweden into the Central Powers. Alternative history. Franz Ferdinand has died, so we can't do that until Franz Ferdinand dies. So that's not currently an option for Sweden. Right. Okay. Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here. Just looking up here, we're getting close to think. I'm sort of surprised we haven't seen an announcement, but I think when I was at somewhere June, forget when the Archduke get killed down here when he's visiting. What is it? Sarajevo, I think. Yes, Sarajevo gets assassinated. Okay, sure, Plunk. Well, we can do extensive. No, we can't do extensive. Okay, guess we're just going to let the political power build up so we can jump to it fast. Destroy them all as Toyjet kills Sweden, yes. Toyjet is definitely a member of the anti-Swedish movement.
Achtung! Ausrücken!
Well, if we're going to hold on... Thank you, very, very noisy cycle. On the Western Front and pursue my Eastern Front first strategy here. And let's move over a bunch more divisions.
Befehle!
Reinforce the likely attack here into
Ausrücken!
Serbia. Get them crushed. Don't know what to do with these marine divisions. These guys I do, because they're going to help occupy places like in the east, so they can learn to hang out in the forest for a while.
Ihre Befehle? Achtung! Ausrücken!
Okay, we're getting near to being caught up on rations. Or nearer. Good, okay. Political effort. No, instead of showing sorry, it is better for the world and all just because. You know, if I was ranting and raving, if I was a Canadian ranting and raving about America, I think people would think there was more of a problem with me. I guess power to the Kaiser. Then there's actually a problem with America. So I happen to think the problem may be more with you than with Sweden. You know, I just picture that this little guy, about 2 feet tall, shaking his fists and just shouting up at this like 6 foot tall, rather strong guy, and the strong guy just looking down and going, I don't know what his problem is. You know, he's just like, yeah, I haven't messed with him in many, many years, but he's still just going bananas. Yeah.
All right. Ausrücken.
Make sure we at least make it difficult for them to invade from the sea.
Ausrücken.
Well, let's come over here with you. How many rivers now? Let's come over here.
Angetreten. Ihre Befehle.
Let's concentrate his force a bit more down here.
Ausrücken.
Oh, these are the occupation divisions. No, never mind. Yeah, they'll still be here. Yeah. Yeah, I am. But only those who need to be bullied. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. I'm not sure what a victory looks like. What does a victory look like here? Okay, here we are. I've been waiting for it. Yeah, I thought it was like May or June. I know it's August when the war actually kicks off. Today, on June 28th, 1914, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, and his wife were shot dead in Sarajevo by Gavrilo Princip, who was part of a terrorist organization, I believe called the Black Hand. Although the liberal-minded Franz Ferdinand is not overly mourned by the ultra-conservative Austrian government, Emperor Franz Joseph and the Austrian military leaders are said to be using his death as a convenient excuse to start pressing for a war with Serbia. Oh, wow. I really take a exception to this. I don't know Franz Ferdinand and Franz Josef's personal relationship, but my understanding he is the he's the Archduke of Austria, basically like the Prince of Wales in England. He's the designated successor to the to Franz Joseph, the current very old emperor. That's my understanding of it. Again, I'm not a World War I expert here. Like I consider myself something of an expert on World War II. Not a know-it-all, but I'm constantly learning more. But still, oh, this, to me, this is like having your Vice President of the United States, or the Prince of Wales in England, or similar personality assassinated. I don't know why my screen's flickering twice now. That's sort of weird. Hope everything's good for you guys. So it's like having that assassinated, and we can go, like in the US, I don't know that Dick Cheney or even Joe Biden or Mike Pence are very popular figures in U.S. politics. Dan Quayle, I remember he was more ridiculed than anything else. So some of these people aren't popular figures within the political parties, within the political systems. Somebody like Dick Cheney was never planning on running for president, but he is the designated, successor if something goes wrong with the president. And so having someone kill them, and there is, also know that he was, I'm not sure what that pistol is supposed to designate here, but they were given brand new high-tech Browning pistols. I think they were the 380s. What is it, 1910? There's several Browning pistols right in that period, and I forget exactly the model, that had just minor variations between like a 1908, 1910, 19 whatever models. But Browning single stack magazine autos, those are really high tech. Those are like pick out I don't know, even something newer than like the FN57 or some sort of very modern pistol that you might think that you don't just pick up on the street somewhere for cheap, for nothing. Not that you can't get a hold of them. They were commercially able to be gotten hold of, but these guns were clearly, I think all the evidence shows, given to the Black Hand terrorist organization by whatever you call the Serbian secret police, secret intelligence. I don't know exactly the designation, but they were definitely a Serb. And I'm not saying that there's clear evidence that whatever the Serbian president or whatever was, or king or whatever, was actually orchestrating this. It very well may be a intelligence op that is carried out without higher authority. Maybe. I don't know. This is what Serbia is, in my opinion, 90% to blame for the starting of World War I in this assassination attempt. I don't know what the conspirators were trying to achieve with this assassination. Now, they succeeded wildly by getting Super Serbia created, often called Yugoslavia, which was an artificial state that was only, and when I say artificial, it was only in existence because it was propped up by outside sources. It was propped up by outside sources when it was the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. And, if you have one military, the Serbian military, it was able to, shall we say, dominate the rest of the peoples of Yugoslavia because no significant power was willing or whatever, or able to support, send in weapons, whatever, the dissident elements within Yugoslavia, and that continues into the Cold War under Tito, meaning NATO isn't going to send in weapons because that trying to destabilize Yugoslavia could bring out a world war, a third or whatever you want to call it. In the interwar period, you have Romania doubling in size or more from World War One. Also, you have Italy growing in size by taking Trieste and Tyrol, as well as some other positions along the coast, so they don't want to disturb the situation either. And so, Austria and Hungary are beaten down, so they're not allowed to, because if they start acting up, they may get pounded on by bigger powers. So it's an artificial state. So yes, they won for a few generations, but and maybe that's their goal and they won. But man, they destroy the world in doing so. This moment destroys the world as it was known in so many ways. It destroys sleepy America. America was industrializing, however you want to say it. Some areas were for the period were peak industrialized. But there was a lot of, even in, East Coast America, there's a lot of sleepy America, hometown America. He doesn't want to, oh, weird things are happening in Sudan. Interesting story in the newspaper, but I don't care about it because that's, way off, some other part of the world. And they don't want to be the world's policeman. They don't want to be any. They just want to be left alone. So it destroys that America. It doesn't destroy America, obviously, as in bombing or a revolution like we see in Russia or someplace like that. It's not that kind of destroying of America, but it's destroying, shall we say, sleepy America. And it destroys Spain, even though Spain is not in World War One, because of what happens before the Spanish Civil War even breaks out, in the collapse of the Spanish monarchy, the rise of the radical Republicans, we'll call them in Spain, because there's multiple factions there, and then the right counter reaction to it, just all destroy Spain. So just about the Ottoman Empire, yeah. Erdogan is trying to rebirth the Ottoman Empire, but it's destroyed, and whatever he rebirths, he ain't getting Israel. He ain't getting the Saudi coast. He may be able to grow into northern Syria. He may be able to grow into some places, but he's not. If he tries to take the rest of Cyprus, even the British will do something about it. Though right now it seems like, particularly Germany's going, yeah, Greco-Turkish war, go for it, yay! Instead of coming down on Greece's side. So yeah, this one event destroys the world. Serbia is responsible for this destruction. Yes, the Habsburgs definitely had ambitions to move in on these weak states that had come about because of the collapse of the Ottoman Empire. That is true. Now, we also have another element of the reaction. So Austria, Franz Ferdinand is assassinated, and his wife. And he was for a Habsburg monarch, something of a liberal reformer. What that would have meant, I don't know. I corresponded with Otto Habsburg many, many years ago. He's obviously dead now. for something else, but so I read up on him a bit. And he was very much of a pan-Europeanist. And he was a huge supporter of the European project. This was before there was an EU, but there was, I don't know, the common market, whatever. He was, the one of the forerunners to the EU. He was I think, an elected representative to that at the time. Sorry, I forget some of the details, but I'm just saying I sort of know about that. And this is the Habsburg family ideology, as best as I can understand it. It is not, and this is why Hitler hates it, because it is not an Austrian empire that he wants. He wants, and I think this goes for Ferdinand as well as the other Habsburgs before and after this, he wants a peaceful, unified Europe that in some ways looks a lot like the modern day EU, but maybe even more centralized. So a liberal-minded Franz Ferdinand is probably not someone who is, self-determination for all the localities that get to break up the empire, the European Coal and Steel Union. Yeah, whatever it was called back then, the European Coalition. This was in the very early 90s. There was still no, the brief écu or whatever, that sort of brief currency that existed before they eliminated the stuff. So yeah, Franz Otto Habsburg was very much involved with that. And as an old gentleman, meaning it was a quick correspondence. I'm not trying to make very much of it, but meaning I'm aware of the family, and this idea continues on. And sure, they want to be, whether the ruling family or a person, a member of their family or members of their family, working towards this kind of ideology. I think the July ultimatum, Austria. Okay, I'll read that in just a moment. So no, I don't think Franz Ferdinand would want to, see his empire breaking up or anything like that. But like we already have Austro-Hungary, it very well could be like Bohemia or Czechia or whatever, the Austro-Hungary, Czech, Croat, etc., Ukrainian, what have the capital in Vienna, but have a sort of federal system that is which is not so liberal. He wanted instead of Austria-Hungary. But it's also Die Planky, how you doing here? And I'll also get to the other comment here that's a bit longer. I think it's also an idea of liberalization of so it's not a break, and I want to be clear, I don't think he was for the breaking up of the Austro-Hungarian Empire at all, but I also think, and I'm not an expert on Franz Ferdinand, but I think the liberal-mindedness is also more democratic. Sorry, I'm Austrian. Oh no, that's fine. You're good. I'm understanding you. Is it's not breaking up the Austro-Hungarian Empire, but also maybe reducing aristocratic control within the empire, allowing more representation, somewhat democratic, within the empire, and maybe a little bit more liberalized social control. And you also need to realize this isn't the first killing of a member of the Habsburg family. I changed it to killing instead of assassination, because you have Maximilian not that long before what was it, the 1870s. He's killed in Mexico. He stays too long as the Mexican Empire that he's leading, mainly with French troops, though there were Mexican troops in his employ too. He's killed over here. So this is the second high-ranking member of the Habsburg family that is killed, and so the Habsburgs themselves are rather pissed by this. He wanted to crown for the slaves. This was a problem for Polish and Hungarians, especially Hungarians had strong Slavic. Yes, absolutely. And I'm sure it would have caused a lot of conflict. And I don't know that he was the savior of the Habsburg Empire had he come to power or anything like that. And see, I don't think July ultimatum by Austria was the main cause of the war. No. Serbia was prepared to accept all the terms except one that placed Austrian officials in the Serbian government. If I remember correctly, the ultimatum was purposely unacceptable in order to go to war. Okay. I think... Well, okay. I have no problem with Austria, and I don't think Austria's going to war with Serbia is the cause of World War I. You can talk about the ultimatum and how good or bad the ultimatum may be, or what they would have accepted. So what if it was just an excuse to go to war? That it's the killing of a high-ranking political official. Even though they tried to put it into, they tried to make it deniable by putting it into localized terrorist hands. That is the cause. You assassinate, a president, a vice president. That country gets to go to war with you. Oh, it was just the fourth. This is the okay. Okay, yeah. The other brother, then Archduke. Okay, thank you, Planky. I hope I'm getting that right. Yeah, I am not, as you can tell here, though ridiculously debuff national spirits and war exhaustion stuff. There's a terrible idea. Yeah, where I'm just hello, irate pirate. Yeah, I am not an expert, as you can tell, on Austria-Hungary. I'm not claiming to be. But it's, okay, so he is not the vice president, but he's still up there as a fairly important member of the family. And so that, to me, is a reason to go to war, because I believe in the Scottish motto, "Nemo me impune lacet," meaning you cannot strike at me with impunity. If you strike at me or mine with, you're gonna feel it back. So if you assassinate, some of my family, and you're another nation, we're going to war. We're going to war. You either can basically, as Swifty will call him, as Swifty points out with the July ultimatum. Yeah, you can give an ultimatum and say, hey, basically, if you want to more or less surrender to us, fine, but otherwise we're going to war. Now, I don't blame Austria for it. The only real blame, in my opinion, for Austria is the cause and effect is separated enough in people's minds. They waited too long to go to war. I mean, they should have just mobilized and gone. And so Serbia causes it. Russia maintaining its alliance with Serbia. Why? I don't know. I mean, what the hell good can come for Russia? Yeah, I know they want to be protector of the Slavs. I get that. No, Germany did not cause it. They didn't. And I earlier talked about in this stream Germany's invasion of Belgium. Whether it brings Britain into it or not, you can watch it either on an episode later or go back and watch my thoughts on that. So I'm not going to cover that all over again. But, what the hell good does it do Russia to be protector of all these Slavs? Well, obviously it's an aggressive power play as an excuse to be involved in European politics. But my God, I guess you just can't see it. Maybe because there's an insurrection. By any definition, there's an insurrection going on in America. Now, 99% of Americans think, yeah, there's a few thousand, those that are paying attention, there's a few thousand radical lunatics that are killing people because there's been more than 30 people killed in these riots by the rioters. More than 30 people killed by these rioters. So there's an insurrection going on in America. But it isn't going to mean the collapse of America. We're going to deal with it after the election. Trump will come in and put it down. He's just trying not to be too big of a bully while the election's going to happen. He's going to put it down and make it all good. That's what a lot of people think. Maybe we're all just deluding ourselves, and 3 weeks from now, the election will be chaos. 4 months from now, there'll be a new People's Republic in America. Just think, all you Europeans, how scary that would be if 4 months from now there's People's Republic of America and somebody you've never heard of, or it's AOC or somebody like that, Ocasio-Cortez, some woman is the first woman People's President of America, and she's now ruling the world with her nuclear missiles and her green communist ideology. Maybe we're all just deluding ourselves on what's going on, but that's probably what was happening with the Russian Empire. But why the hell do they go to war with Serbia? What do they think they're going to get out of it, knowing that that's going to bring in the Germans? Because the Germans had no intention of coming into the war with Serbia, but they weren't going to see their... I'll get to some of the chat here. Hello, Suter. See their primary ally of Austria being munched on by the Russian Empire, who definitely had been trying to, pushing into the Crimea and other places against the Ottoman Empire. Yeah. And so, yeah, I blame 90% of it. I blame of World War I entirely on Serbia. Serbia is the bad guy here. And, okay, the Serbian CIA was connected with the terrorists, and the Austrians wanted to... Yeah, absolutely. Whatever the intel people conquered Belgrade and the archive to get the proof everyone suspected. Yeah, no, they were... whatever the Serbian CIA, or whatever you want to call it, secret police, secret whatever, they supported the Black Hand. They gave them the weapons to do the action. They pointed them in that direction. Trump is proof of the weak presidential office in the USA. He won't be able to fix anything because the states and cities have more power. Well, yeah, you're irate. You're absolutely right. We're a federal government. There is a lot of local powers, and there is ways. I mean, we could look at the presidency of Abraham Lincoln and our Civil War, and a lot of stuff that the president can do, but it's something that, I know what you're saying, and Irate Pirate, I don't know you beyond. I haven't seen you around here before. Maybe you're posting in other names, but you can look at where when in Birmingham, I think it was in Birmingham, one of the places, where the federal government orders the state government to integrate, this is back in the 60s, integrate the schools, and the state governor, and sorry, I'm messing up some of the details on this. I think this is like in 64. I mean, before I was alive, sorry. The state governor mobilizes the National Guard and puts them around the school to keep the school unintegrated. And was it Kennedy or Truman? I think it was Truman. Truman, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Truman. Truman just simply by his order, because they can call up any National Guard unit at any time they wish to. The federal government calls up to federal service that very same state National Guard unit, because all National Guard units are organized state by state, into federal service, and uses those exact same troops to integrate the school. And you like the famous picture of the little black girl going to school, being with a lot of with 100 or more National Guardsmen around the school. So Trump can mobilize the National Guard and put it under federal control. He just hasn't done it yet, but he could do it. So yeah, it's not quite. Yeah. So yes, and Toy Jet. Yes, maybe there's a revolution coming. I don't think there is. There's an insurrection going on. Absolutely, by any definition of the word. I'm not saying it's an insurrection that I think is likely to win, but it is happening. Now I could just be fooling myself, and they may win very soon. Kaiser Wilhelm said himself, "We have no troubles with Russia. It is stupid to get involved with this mess in Serbia." Yeah, and Kaiser Wilhelm had a state beneath him, including a true military complex that he did not control. That is very true. There was, but I do believe even the Kaiser wants to, defend Austria. At least that's my understanding. July Kaiser just said, in all honesty, what a waste. All of the European civilization. Yeah, no, that's what I've been talking this whole stream about, how the world is destroyed by this action. The world has known it. Lenin once said that there are decades where nothing happens, and then weeks where decades happen. Interesting quote. I didn't know. Hello, Brett. How you doing? Good to have you here. Okay, Russia had connections with Belgrade. Also, today's Russia has strong. Yeah, I know and lots of connections, and I remember the sort of Russian intervention on behalf of Serbia during the breakup of Yugoslavia. I get all of that, but they were incapable of enforcing their will, and it caused the collapse of their society. Let's see. Yeah, we're doing Endsieg here, Brett. So we're starting with 1910, and we're getting ready for World War One. Yes, hello, Wizard or Gaming Wizard Society. How you doing? Well, they're a waste of life. Yeah, well, politics are going on in the world in the next few decades. Yeah, but there are parallels between now and then, and illustrations to be made. The end of American power will lead to return of great power politics, probably only after another great war. If America falls as the hegemonic power of the world, we will see a lot of wars. Now, I don't know if it'll be a world war. Very well might be, but nuclear arsenals may just keep it to, say, the Asian war, whatever that might mean, China, India, various Asian countries. It would definitely be a new general war in Europe, and whether it's Putin or his successor or something, there would be definitely an attempt to revive the lost Russian Empire, whatever that might mean. Whether that's Soviet borders or these borders, or I don't know. We would definitely see wars breaking out in Africa, in the Middle East, because not, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, we'd see wars breaking out. I think probably the most stable place, at least border-wise, would probably be South America if the hegemonic powers of America disappear. But yeah, no, the world does not. Trust me, the real world both the people who live in it who may not understand it and the people who understand power politics do not want America to fall. They don't. They might want it a little less intrusive into whatever region's going on, but they don't want it to fall. Let me try to read through a lot of good comments here. We'd say World War II policies, a prominent influx of revolutionary ideas come about, yes, but it's the collapse of the ancient regime as known before, because there's the ancient regimes before the French Revolution, and then there's the ancient regimes before the post-World War I or whatever, the Russian Revolution and other ongoing. So there's a revolution, multiple revolutions going on in Germany. You have the Spartacus movement in Berlin, and whatever the red, I forget what the red uprising was in Bavaria. In Germany, you have several of these sort of radical red revolutionary movements springing up in Germany that the right puts down. This is outside of the establishment of the somewhat revolutionary I always blank on names like this. What's the city? Germany, interwar. What's it called? Somebody posted. Why do I blank on these things? I don't know. It's not that I'm forgetful. So I know what was Germany called during this period? Please, somebody figure it. I just need the trigger. The city name. No one's following me, or no one's willing to type it. I don't know. Boy, I hate doing this. Well, I'm going to do it because you guys aren't helping me out. You're just liking to laugh. Okay. Hey, thanks for following. I do appreciate that. Weimar, that's it. Weimar Republic, that's it. I guess, yeah, I know it. Yes, thank you. I need the trigger. My mind does this once in a while. Weimar Republic. Thank you. And so that in and of itself, compared to the Kaiserreich, is a bit of a revolution, but it's mild compared to some of the other stuff. I'm still trying to catch up with all the chat. Great chat. All that was due to poor German post-Bismarck diplomatic policies. Chance for an Anglo. Yeah, there's definitely that. You should start the Gamer rants. This is the end of this episode, so I'm going to finish this rant. People are here to see the world. Yeah, I know, Brett. But we're talking. This is the end of the episode. We're just talking beyond gameplay. Biggest mistake was the mobilization of Russia. So Germany, yeah. Weimar, thanks. Okay, yep. Germany does enjoy a massive force and being big marching bands. Yeah. No, Weimar, you guys got it. Thank you. Sorry. Thanks so much for all of it. Just because chat is slow doesn't mean you can't say we are unhelpful. No, you were helpful. Chat, very much. Thank you. It just took a moment. Yeah. So even Weimar is a bit of a revolutionary change for Germany. So the point is this world that we're looking at in June 1914 is on a cliff about ready to go over it. And they don't realize it. They just don't realize it. And so we could be on one now. I don't think we are. I do not think we are. But warfare changes, fourth generational, fifth generational warfare. No, I can't define either of those terms for you, and I don't even. I'm sure somebody's written a definition of those terms, but they're definitely, using not just cyber warfare as in like cyber attacks to bring down Google or something like that, but it's also just influencing actions of large groups of people or influencing actions of some lone actor with a gun to go in and shoot a president. Oh, that would never happen. All these actors, they're ranting and raving about Trump is just doesn't really mean much. An actor would never do that. John Wilkes Booth, one of the most popular actors in America at the time, assassinates Lincoln. So yeah, actors are by profession are probably the most likely, as a percentage of people in America who are or ever have been an actor, is the most likely profession to kill an American president. The Proud Tower is best depicting this time period. Okay, I do not know that. It's the ending of a golden age, yes. And I was talking about some of that at the very beginning of this stream. So I'm sort of wrapping this up here. And so, yeah, this is the moment, in my opinion, that collapses it. This is it. Everything else, I'm not saying that, and I talked about this, Germany invading Belgium doesn't give Germany some black marks. It does. There's a lot of people think that Britain would have come in anyway, so the war would have gotten bigger anyways. And it is quite likely that France would have come in on Russia's side, even if Germany did not mobilize and move against France. I think that is quite clear. So, it isn't Germany's fault for expanding the war. In the board game scene, know about Europe. This letter, I didn't know anything about it. Right. Oh yeah. Well, there is a whole lot of like you're saying, within the sort of military wargaming community, however you want to describe it, a lot of them do know a lot about Europe and its history. Trust me. But we are a minute faction of Americans, less than 1% of America by that. So most Americans are completely ignorant of this. And so, yeah, there are those of us who know. So this is sort of the golden age that is coming to an end. There are problems with the age. The age ain't perfect. But the age of riot and revolution that happens after it until the end of the Cold War, and then whatever we're this post-Cold War world, that there was thought to be a golden moment there, which it was nice for a moment under Clinton and the collapse of the Soviets, but that was just everything reorienting themselves. So yeah, this is the moment. Okay, tragic. To war we go. Heidi, 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 Heidi ho. Can anybody, it's close to a quote, can anybody tell me the movie that is from? What movie is that sort of song, it's a song, comes from? Let's save this. Let's make sure I know which one I'm saving this for. Hey Sam, how you doing? Anybody know the song, probably, or the movie that comes from? Giving you a moment. Okay. It's even before my time. A movie called Duck Soup. Many Austrians, especially in the bureaucracy, thought we are doomed, our state is doomed because of nationalism, but if we go down, then with a war and a big boom. Yeah. Now, there's some people believe that we now live in a post-nationalistic age because of the internet. And so, I wonder if they could have lasted out. Because if you look at, all the people that voted to stay in the EU in Britain, and so that is what, 40% of voters or something in Britain. I mean, they lost by a decent percentage in the plebiscites, but and in the subsequent elections. But 40% of Britons are anti-nationalistic. They want to be a member of the EU, not be a member of their own nation state. And I don't know what it, how many Germans out there, and Angela Merkel is one of them, is an anti-nationalistic German. She and others want to create, USE, United States of Europe, in a post-nationalistic world. There are others that believe because of the internet, we're breaking into smaller tribes and factions, but are not based on a specific locality, like your hometown, your home city, your home state or province or whatever, but based on different ideologies, not necessarily right and left, communism versus capitalism, but just all kinds of factionalisms. Some are, purely tribal, like what sports team you're supporting, and those will continue to morph into a tribal group. Others will be certain religious factions, and it could just, I'm not trying to even, you may be jumping to Islam or something. I'm thinking like ultra conservative Anglicanism. Women are not priests in the Anglican Church, breaking off from the rest of the Anglican Church faction that believes that God doesn't exist and women should be in power in the church. All this breaking up of stuff. So everyone is nationalistic in a nationalistic bar, small subset of transnational global entities and their faux middle class activist acolytes. Yeah, sort of get where you're coming from that. And so of that breaking up, now you see massive nationalism going on in China right now. And so I don't know, and I'm still on the, because of nationalism, Austria-Hungary is doomed. But also notice there are basically the ideologies of the left: communism, socialism, syndicalism, are anti-nationalistic. They are pan whatever. It's because in Germany the conflict comes down to ultimately between socialism or international socialism and national socialism. Two versions and each version of their socialism was different, but the key there is the socialists and the communists were internationalists, and the National Socialists were nationalists, the Hitler group. And so it was two factions of socialism. Which faction, German socialism won, not international socialism. That's what one writer has recently been using the term German socialism when she has been talking about German activities during World War II. German socialists, and that's what they are. They're German socialists because they have, social Deutsches. German socialists out there doing stuff. So it's German socialists versus international socialists. So I don't know. And now, of course, their viewpoint, and you're absolutely right, their viewpoint is seeing the rise of nationalism, but there's also the rise of internationalism going on that Austria-Hungary is a perfect fit for, because like I was talking earlier, the Habsburgs are, supporters of the EU. That's their ideology, their family ideology going back from day one. The Germans, many are complete anti-nationalists since World War II. Yes, many hate their military and think, is Marcel still around over on Twitch? Probably. Yeah, he'll have a counter argument to that. But you're right, many Germans are that. They think they are Europeans or citizens of the world. Absolutely, a lot of them do. But there is a strong rise of German nationalism. Not so much, in my opinion, a reaction to EUism, but more the rise of non-EU member peoples, non-European peoples flooding into Germany and other countries is giving a rise to German nationalism. Okay, well, we're going to end this episode. I know we got talking a lot about politics, but I think it was an important moment to talk about in history. Literally world-changing moment happened in a few minutes of time from the first assassination attempt to taking a few wrong turns or whatever in the cars and coming across another assassin, because they first threw, I think it was a hand grenade, which went off but didn't seriously kill anybody, to then, or the primary targets, to then later pistol shots. So, the shots that killed the world. Okay. Let's save this. Did I already save this? Probably I did, but we'll save it again. Yeah, just make sure. Okay, guys, I know it's a little early, about an hour early, but I think we're going to end the episode, or the live stream here. I want to thank you all for showing up. Really appreciated having you here. Great chat. German nationalism, we don't want to pay for the poor Europeans like the Greece anymore. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on too. That's part of the problem with the current EU project, as it's sort of known. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, follow on Twitch, whatever, those few that may have been on, just a few probably, over on Facebook. Follow over there. Tomorrow I'll be streaming with any of you who want to join me. War Thunder. If there's enough of us, we'll play some custom games. If there's just a few, we'll squad up and play some of those battles tomorrow. And then later in the week, I will be doing something for Slytherin. Forget what. And then next weekend's to come back. Thank you all. See you soon. I really appreciate having you guys here.